No, I got some like fried stupid bugs. I forget what kind.
Okay.
I think they were.
Yeah. I bit my lip.
Oh god. Deep Silver. They have the Dead Island game. Which I'm curious. How did you guys feel about that game?
I liked it. We
Really?
reviewed
It was
it
fun.
on our show. We gave it good. I probably would have rated it between like a 7 to 8.5 if I had to put a number on it.
It was
If I had to put a
janky.
very
Good.
specific
Why
number
not?
on it.
It was janky, but it was fun, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the, I guess, okay, they had that famous trailer.
Yeah.
One that was running backwards. And it gave the sense that there was something emotive that might be happening in the game. I just found it so odd when I put the game in, and like, you just get this kind of nasty song and just people gyrating, and then, death and explosions, and then you're bonking things in the head with it, with the plank.
I'd like whoever made that trailer to make a game. But now they got Dead Island Riptide coming out. Dead Island sort of 1.5, not quite a sequel. And everyone knows what Dead Island is now. No one's tricked into thinking it's about backwards, slow motion, dead children.
No, because
No, it's,
who wants that?
Right,
But then
right.
they repeated that trailer for Dead Island Riptide. Like, they did it in a very similar vein.
and nobody batted an eyelash. So, they made a promotional torso.
Bloody torso.
Yeah, well, no arms, no head. I didn't look close enough to see if the nether region had also been separated, or if you're just supposed to.
They showed the very top of her bikini bottom.
So, yeah.
Really offensive.
Yeah, people got a little upset. Which brings me to what were they thinking? Not even just having it in the game, like as part of the collector's edition, I think it is. But, the video game industry just had this meeting with Biden last week. All the ideas of what people want to do about gun control, and now they want to do and see if there's a linkage between violence in games and violence in real life, which is they're going to find out there isn't one. Regardless, there's some eyes on the video game industry. Why do you announce this
It's
week?
like they were in like a meeting for maybe the last few months, and they just came out and they were like, "We've got it. It's just like some tits in a bikini, no head, no arms."
Well, it's a physical thing, so I'm guessing it probably was manufactured a while ago, and they're just now marketing it. I mean, they didn't come off, like the manufacturing press like today or anything.
No.
I'm sure this has been
that's
part
also-
of their marketing plan for months now.
That's also the thing is we haven't seen a physical version of this statuette thing, which is interesting because there's the totally out there possibility that maybe they did know this would be a complete shitstorm, and maybe they just released a Photoshop mock-up to get people talking about this game because they sure as hell didn't have a trailer that did that.
Yeah, but if they did that, they would have admitted it afterwards rather than apologizing.
Unless
I want to
they're
be the
playing
one
the
guy
long
who's
con.
really upset that they're not creating this thing anymore. Like, the way they marketed the way they marketed it when they first sent the email out with a picture in it, they were like, "This would make a lovely set piece on any gamer's mantle." I was like, "Really? You're gonna put that on your mantle?"
Okay, let's just, Tara. You are the woman here.
Yes.
Okay, you go over to someone's house, you may not know them that well. And that is prominently displayed in their living room, on their armoire, on the mantle. What is your first instinct?
My first instinct would be to ask, "What is this?" And then they would say, "Oh, it came with like a collector's edition of some video game." And I'd say, "Oh, that's cool." But inside my head, I would really be thinking, "Oh, that's really lame."
It's a little weird when you decide to kind of put your focus on the remnants of the act of violence. And I think that's where I started to find it like more distasteful than maybe other things of its ilk, even though I can't really think of a good correlation.
I just thought it was ugly.
That's actually another thing is like, aside, like, the part of me that thinks about stuff as it's put before me.
There is a part of you that does that?
There is a part of me, I know.
Believe it or not.
The part that
His name
tries
is Stan.
to think critically, and there's little gears they turn and they make the squeaking noises. I look at that and I'm like, that's disgusting. They took the sexualized portions of a woman, they removed her head and her arms and her legs, and they released that. If you put that statuette in like a museum about like rape culture or battered women, it wouldn't really be too out of place. Like
No.
It's pretty disgustingly symbolic of something bad. Remove all that, it's just a dumb collectible.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't include the head or legs just because it was like too much work to get the detailing on a zombie face right, and they all turn out creepy looking anyway.
Yeah.
But regardless,
But
I mean,
it's just a stupid
there
collectible.
are reasonable adults that came up with the idea, that saw it through its process, and then decided to go ahead with the marketing campaign when they actually chose to. And I think the thing is, this is not like the only time we've seen something like this. There's that asinine campaign in England for Hitman where you can put a hit out on your friends, and it's just like, I think there's efforts by many people who are part of the video game community, be it people who make games, publish games, who talk about games, and who play games, that would like to foster an image that we are not just a bunch of kind of Neanderthals that are just have these Pavlovian responses to anything that's kind of violent and sexualized.
That's the tits and the blood on
it. And then there's this. I mean, yes, it is a statement that this probably does help sell things, but it's just kind of just hang your head like, can we go a month maybe without this happening?
I mean, I try to think about like, because companies like this, they have to create a collector's edition, you know, like they're going to.
Which is a whole other discussion.
Exactly, a whole other discussion. But when I think about what a figurine of something from Dead Island would look like, my mind immediately goes to a zombie holding like a cricket bat or something.
Yes!
That would make sense.
Which would make absolutely sense. But the only reason I can come up with that they didn't do that is because it was too detailed and too much work, and they didn't want to put the money or effort into it.
Here's a weird thing to think about is also, that's not the only collector's edition. They put out the other collector's edition, which has a briefcase, or like little suitcase, which makes perfect sense because the majority of what you do in the first Dead Island is open suitcases. And it also comes with like a little flash drive and like a baby machete or some stupid thing like that. But it's like, it's all stuff that kind of works there.
And it has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know, it has a knowing nod that you must be familiar with the series and what it means and all of its tropes.
One argument that people brought up was like, what if it was, would it be offensive if it was like a dude's torso and like a little banana hammock? And I'm like, well, that's sort of the thing. Why isn't it? That would actually be really funny if they made his and hers.
Because there's humor there.
That would be.
Because what this is, I don't see any humor in this. What I do see is something kind of lurid, and puerile, and it's just kind of appealing to some rather base instincts. You know, the banana hammock thing, I think would actually be funny. And yes, that isn't a double standard.
Yeah. I mean, why don't
I had the same thing when I did my Resident Evil 5 review, because I really did take exception to what I found, if not outrightly racist, was highly questionable in its representations of anxious portrayals of African men. And everyone came back with like, yeah, well, why was Resident Evil 4 racist? Because, man, you're talking race. But there's, I mean, it is funny, this reaction that you tend to get all the time, that it's like, oh, this isn't, I don't know. It's a discussion that I wish would be easier to have with a lot of the people out there. That there is.
Gaming community is so used to their medium being attacked. I mean, it's being attacked by the government right now. It's being attacked by the mainstream media, and it's like we're so used to going on the defensive about what is good and bad, or like what is being misrepresented, whatever. That when someone from on the inside is like, hold on, it's like this kind of, it's like when a dog bites its master, kind of. I'm not saying we're the masters of the gaming community, but the people who are like, hey, this is gross and stupid and disgusting, and like I don't think this is a cool thing. Everyone's like, you don't just. Why do you have to say that? I don't think it's offensive. What's the big deal? It's just a toy. It's just a video game. There's way worse stuff in movies.
I mean, I guess I could see this to be one of 100 things for those who really are into the collector's editions, is kind of like trophies of game purchasing. But it's not something that I would clear an area for.
Yeah, definitely not.
I guess it also does seem to reflect poorly on what these guys think of their consumer base and the people that want to be playing Dead Island.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if I was a really good fan, really was into the first game, I would probably take a little bit of offense. Like, this is what you think of me as someone who is an avid purchaser, an enthusiast for your game.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing to sort of take into consideration is everyone's like, well, I don't like it, but I mean, what's wrong with other people who maybe they want it? Like, why can't they have it? It's like, well, that's the part where you kind of like, who made an active decision to pander to those people who would like to have an over-sexualized, butchered torso in their house?
It's just...
Those people are weird enough that they might carve that on their own, you know, and then post it on a forum somewhere. Like, and then go and post really weird Craigslist ads.
Yeah, it's not the sense of desensitization. It's maybe the way that I think most people know that there's something kind of off about something like this, and you just kind of it just seems to reinvigorate this sense of thrill at just kind of going against some rather basic senses of decency in society.
Yeah.
And that I think we indulge that a little bit more than we shouldn't, and I think to a disproportionate amount in the gaming community. that somehow like things that are really unacceptable just are somehow like that much more exciting when it's in video game form.
Anthony made an interesting point. I was talking to him about this. I was just like bothered because there are people who are kind of trying to defend it, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I got a little bit upset, but that's the thing is when there's something that's sort of outrageous, sometimes you kind of get outraged by it, which is nice because I don't feel completely jaded.
That's why those two words sound so similar.
Right, go figure. But he pointed out that, like, you know, some of the people who are defending it, maybe, you know, maybe they are teenagers, either literal or figurative teenagers who haven't really gotten to that part where they fully like can empathize. You know how they haven't. I mean, there are things that happen in your brain that you don't. Maybe you can point at things around the room and name what they are and spell them on the computer, and like you're aware of the world around you to a certain degree. But that's a thing that keeps happening as you get older. And you're able to sort of like really kind of not think outside the box, but just sort of open your mind a little bit.
No. When you've been forced into the gutter enough times, you tend to generate a little bit more sensitivity to things you do that might do that to somebody else. I agree.
There's this like, I hate you, Dad. You're not even my real dad. Brian, slam the door, open, you know, turn on Linkin Park really loud kind of reaction that happens so often. And it's like we do cause a big fuss, a big kerfuffle about things in the video game industry a lot, but sometimes it's like, we want this to be really cool. A video game is the best-selling form of entertainment. Like the Black Ops 2 was the number one entertainment thing of all time. And then things like this happen and it's like, come on, you are embarrassing us here.
Honestly, I chalk it up to bad marketing.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, but I think it's just, if we could have had bad marketing a month from now, it would have just been a lot nicer. And you know what? I think the thing is, a lot of people do get outraged so fast that this is not going to become some sort of poster child for the video games are to blame for everything.
Well, Adam, this is the internet. People have an attention span of about 5 or 6 days. We're going to forget about this by next week.
You're right.
And there will be something even stupider to be upset about. I guarantee you.
What's your name?